Welcome back. The Trump campaign barnstorming the state as the race for the White House continues through North Carolina. Women are a key group of voters for the Trump campaign and, frankly, for both campaigns. This is Joe Biden's in North Carolina today as well. Joining us tonight is Lara Trump, senior advisor for the Trump campaign, the president's daughter-in-law, and a North Carolina native. Lara, good to see you again. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Just tell us sort of what this bus storming tour is about here this week.
Yeah, well, as you can see, we're here on a bright pink bus in North Carolina, and in 2016, we actually started right here in North Carolina, what we called our Women for Trump tour, and we originally started out in a small SUV, and then it kind of has grown from there. We now have our bus. We heard a notion in 2016, it was constantly out there in the mainstream media that women didn't support Donald Trump, and I said, that's funny. Everywhere I go, it's women who specifically are coming up to me, telling me how much they are excited about voting for Donald Trump. So we said, let's take it on the road. We had our bus back then. We have the pink bus now, and we've been really all over this country. We've been in Maine, New Hampshire, Iowa, Florida. We're here in North Carolina, going to Ohio. We've been in Pennsylvania. And really, we're just connecting with voters all across the country. We do have men that come to our events, too, but of course, predominantly women. And look, we're just spreading the word about why we need 4 more years of President Donald Trump.
Well, speaking of women, the president is going to announce the next woman that he wants on the U.S. Supreme Court. One of those women is Allison Jones Rushing, who is from right here in North Carolina. So are you at all in your father-in-law's ear about her since she's a North Carolina native?
Well, you know how much I love this state. I named my daughter Carolina after my home state because I love it so much. Look, I'm going to leave this one up to the president. Oh, see, we have support everywhere. I'm going to leave this one up to the president. This is obviously his expertise. He has studied all of these great women, and he knows the best person for the job. So I'm as excited as anyone on Saturday to hear who he chooses.
From a women's perspective, though, obviously there's going to be a lot of discussion about what this court may do if it pushes another conservative on there. And you're talking about women's issues. There are those on the other side that are worried about abortion. So what is your hope, and what are you going to push for with what the court should do in the next term if it does end up the way that you want it to?
Well, look, I think that justices should follow the Constitution of the United States, and I think that's what this is all about. You know, that you have the left out there up in arms over this, but the reality is if justices followed the Constitution and did their jobs, then nobody would have to worry about it being swayed one way or the other. So I think at the end of this, we should all keep that in mind, that these are professionals. These are people who we are putting on a court, the highest court in the land, to do a job, you know, that they're supposed to do, and they're supposed to take it directly from the Constitution. So that is, of course, my hope, as I think it is for probably all Americans.
Do you think then that abortion should go back on trial with this new court next year or in the years ahead?
You know what? I'm going to leave that up to the Supreme Court justices, and this is something that, you know, people have talked about for a long time. We haven't seen much movement on it, so this is something that I will leave up to the experts.
The state Democratic Party, as I'm sure you know, sends out a release every time someone from your campaign is in the state. They talk about whether through his endless attacks on women's health, his failure to protect women-owned small businesses from the recession, or his demeaning language, Donald Trump has shown North Carolina women that he does not have their best interests at heart. Just want to give you a chance to respond to that and why you think the opposite.
Well, nothing could be further from the truth. We've seen under Donald Trump's leadership a 65-year low in women's unemployment. Small business ownership by women is at the highest levels it has ever been in American history and remains so even through the midst of a pandemic. I'll remind people that this president, throughout this really tough time in America, was looking out for all small business owners and workers all across the country with the Paycheck Protection Program, making sure that people could weather this storm. This is a president that has doubled the child tax credit. That's something really incredible for a president to do, never been done before. So this is a president that wants everyone to have their shot at the American dream. Women in particular have benefited in a great way under this president. And I think most people can feel that, even if the Biden campaign says otherwise. Unfortunately for them, they have a candidate in Joe Biden that's been in politics for 47 years. And Donald Trump in 47 months has done more than Joe Biden in 47 years in office. And look, I got to say that the voters I have met, the voters I have encountered, and the enthusiasm on the ground is all for President Trump.
So speaking of being on the ground, you just talked about how you were touring across the country and whatnot. Joe Biden is in Charlotte today. It's his first appearance in North Carolina since February, right before the primary. What have you seen about the difference that it may or may not make about doing this in-person campaigning?
Well, look, I think we all know enthusiasm drives people to vote. And look, I can tell you just at our events, we get hundreds of people at our Women for Trump events. You see the president's rallies drawing thousands and thousands of people. And then you see that Joe Biden really hasn't been out there. He's mostly stayed at home in Delaware. When he does come out, he has very few people get out and support him. So I think the importance of in-person campaigning cannot be overstated. Grassroots, on-the-ground campaigning. We also have teams all across the country, not just, the president going out and campaigning, but we have 2 million mobilized volunteers for the Trump campaign. It all makes a difference, and I think the Biden campaign is feeling the impact of not having him out on the road. I think that's why you're seeing him starting to make a few more appearances.
Well, you've been here quite a bit. Your husband's been here a couple times the last couple weeks. Had a chance to talk with him, too, and that moving forward. The president has been here tomorrow now 5 times in 5 weeks. Is that indicative of that he thinks North Carolina is a must-win state?
North Carolina is a must-win state, and I'm sure everyone knows we worked hard in 2016 to win this state. My father-in-law tasked me in 2016 with helping him win North Carolina. I plan to deliver that again for him. So believe me, every chance I get, I want him to come down to my home state and talk to the people of North Carolina about all that he wants to do in a second term in office and all that he's done in his first term in office. So you'll see more of him, you'll see more of me and all of our family down here because it is a very important state to us.
I have to ask you, and your parents probably ask this question too, do you ever get home when you come to the state and tour so much, or is it just drop in and go back?
Well, I am actually very lucky. I'm excited. I'm staying at my parents' house tonight, but I have to leave very early in the morning because I got to leave, unfortunately, and go to Iowa to do some more campaigning. But look, whenever I get a chance to go to Wrightsville Beach, it is the first place I want to go. And believe me, on November 4th or very close thereafter, I will be down for an extended time down at my parents' house in North Carolina.
Well, we always appreciate all the time when you head back to North Carolina, too. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. All right. We already know that North Carolina is a swing state, but is the Tar Heel state the crucial state for either campaign to win this fall? Boy, absentee votes, they're already coming in. So what are we seeing? By the way, we have a new way to keep you informed throughout the day, even when you're away from your TV. The all-new Spectrum News app features local stories, real-time weather alerts, the ability to watch us live anytime and anywhere. You can check out our podcast, Tying It Together with Tim Boehm, right there in the app. Lara Trump was a guest in February, so check that out. Just go to SpectrumNewsApp.com to learn more and download.